Okay, looks like a good time to get started. I think most people have joined. Good morning and good afternoon to all of you, depending on where you all are. We appreciate you all taking some time today to join us to really talk about this very important topic of bus visibility and how to improve pedestrian safety. My name is Joe DiLorenzo. I'm the Associate Administrator and Chief Safety Officer for the Federal Transit Administration. I'm going to be here facilitating the first part of the meeting for you all today as we get into some of the upfront presentations and then we'll move a little bit forward from there. But I'll talk a little bit about the agenda in a couple of seconds. But just to start, I want to talk a little bit about the goals of the roundtable and the origin of this particular event. As some of you have know, we have been looking at the issue of bus to pedestrian collisions for some time. We've done some analysis. We released a safety advisory and got really strong response from a lot of folks about what was in the safety advisory and steps that could be taken and steps that they had taken in order to improve safety in this particular area. And one of the common things that came up during those discussions were concerns about operator visibility. And we talk in the safety advisor about things that we can do in terms of driver training, as well as some operational considerations for folks, but really wanted to take a step back from there and really focus on understanding this problem as well as it relates specifically to operator visibility, and to learn a little bit more from each other about some solutions and how effective some of those solutions are while we're all here together, and talk a little bit more about what we can do to really improve safety in this particular area. I know it's kind of near and dear to all of our hearts. There's a lot of efforts going on roadway safety and on transit safety, and this I think is a really important cornerstone of some of those efforts. So in terms of what to expect during the course of today, we can take a look at the agenda and we can see we're going to start off with kind of some level setting in terms of the safety problem and issues surrounding this area and some of the analysis. We're going to hear from some experts from within FTA here in our Office of Research, Demonstration, and Innovation, as well as a presentation from the Center for Urban Transportation Research. And then we'll do a little bit more of a facilitated discussion with others who wish to speak, including labor, the bus manufacturers, transit agencies, and others. So again, I really appreciate everyone's time and joining. I'm really looking forward to listening to the discussion and hopefully learn a lot and figure out some ways to improve safety in this area. So before we get started, I'm going to turn it over for a few moments to FTA's Associate Administrator for Communications and Legislative Affairs, Paul Kincaid.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. And good afternoon, everyone. Good morning for those on the west side of the country. My name is Paul Kincaid. As Joe said, I'm the head of our External Affairs Department, essentially, along with our administrator, who sends her greetings, and our senior advisor. I'm one of 3 Biden-Harris appointees here at the FTA. The Biden-Harris administration, particularly Secretary Pete Buttigieg, is committed to making transportation policies and decisions that prioritize safety. Secretary Buttigieg committed to Vision Zero, in fact, very early in his tenure here at the US DOT. Obviously, there's doubt by a lot of folks, including in the transportation industry, that we can truly get to 0 deaths on our roadways. But the secretary said it best. He said, we cannot and must not accept that these fatalities are somehow an inevitable part of life in America. That's why the National Roadway Safety Strategy is built on a safe system approach: safer people, safer vehicles, safer speeds, and safer roads. And we're here today to talk about that component with safer vehicles. There are a lot of factors that determine bus design, regulations, operator needs, transit agency specifications, and engineering, just to name a few of those factors. At FTA, we've spoken with drivers and manufacturers about the challenges and concerns in the bus industry, and I look forward to hearing from their respective presentations as a part of today's agenda. Many of us have also traveled to other countries where we've seen different and potentially better vehicle designs. For example, there are communities in Europe that I personally got an opportunity to see, along with members of APTA and our former administrator, Nuria Fernandez, that use a camera system on their pillars of the bus rather than external rear view mirrors, and to eliminate any blind spots. We're also aware of promising work on operator compartments being done in Canada. And we've gotten a chance to see operator compartments from around the world, from Europe, from Asia, that protect the operator while also providing a great deal of visibility to operate the vehicle. We're really thankful for all of the experts and stakeholders who have joined us today as FTA seeks ideas and input on how to advance safely through better bus designs that improve operator visibility and create exactly what the president, what the secretary, and what our administrator are looking for: safer vehicles and safer operations in transit. We're looking for a robust discussion today about the safety features and how FTA can make them the gold standard on all buses that are manufactured here in the United States. Looking forward to hearing everything that y'all have to say, and I'll hand it back over to Joe to get us underway.
Thank you, Paul. Really appreciate it. Those are some great points you made. Thank you for that. Next up, I'm going to turn it over for a few minutes to Mary Leary. Mary is FTA's Associate Administrator for the Office of Research, Demonstration, and Innovation. Mary?
Thanks, Joe. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here today to hear directly from our broad transit community. Your input has always helped shape our research, standards, training, technical assistance, and bus testing activities. Our mandate in the Innovative Research Office is to support FTA's mission to improve America's communities through public transportation by accelerating innovation that enhances everyone's safety, improves equitable mobility, refines transit operations, and fosters clean energy. One of our core research pillars is to assess ways to increase the safety of bus operators, riders, and all who come into contact with transit stops and vehicles. Later today, you will hear from our Safety Program Manager, Roy Chen, and our longstanding partner in safety standards research, Lisa Stays, the Associate Director of the Center for Urban Transportation Research at the University of South Florida, who will discuss specific safety projects relating to operator visibility and rider safety. We have a long history of research into safety-related transit vehicle design and testing. Since the passage of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, we've had even more funding and opportunities to expand this very important work. Today, through BIL, we're funding over $60 million in innovative safety research, bus component testing, and bus testing through partners like Penn State's Larson Institute that manage FTA's bus testing program, CalSTART and CTE, who manage FTA's Transit Innovative Deployment Centers, and Auburn University and The Ohio State that manage FTA's low or no component testing centers. Of course, this work is broader than the topics we're covering today, but together, these partners and programs are helping transit agencies improve safety, they're helping bus manufacturers build safer buses, and they're helping FTA react quickly to test and address emerging safety issues. Another important element of our safety work relates to the safety of workers, especially bus operators and bus technicians. We have a new training program developed by the Transit Workforce Center and implemented by the National Transit Institute to help bus technicians safely transition from working with diesel buses to working with battery electric vehicles. We also have de-escalation training facilitated by the National Transit Institute. Additionally, we've worked hard to streamline the bus testing program to make it easier and faster for transit vehicle manufacturers to get their buses tested, and safety is a major aspect of the bus testing program. Soon we will have a notice of proposed rulemaking that will further improve the bus testing program, and I so hope that all of you will watch for this and provide comments. Finally, I'm very pleased to share news regarding the next steps for bus compartment redesign. FTA's recent safety efforts, along with the previous compartment-related projects, have informed a new notice of funding opportunity that will combine what we have learned with a more holistic look at bus safety. The NOFO is coming soon, and we will heavily promote the NOFO once it is released. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon or this morning, and I'll turn it back to Joe.
Thanks, Mary. Really appreciate that good information you shared. So with that, we're going to start to get a little bit into the nuts and bolts of this. So I'm going to turn it over to Ivy Glendon from our office, Office of Transit Safety and Oversight. She's going to do a little bit of discussion about the data and some of what she has seen in her analysis. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ivy.
Thank you, Joe. So as Joe said, today I will briefly talk about FTA's data analysis on bus safety that will provide some context for our conversation today. Next slide. It's important to know that bus collisions with people outside of the vehicle account for a high number of injuries and fatalities each year. And importantly, collisions account for nearly 4 in 10 of all bus-related transit fatalities. Next slide. The key takeaway here is that fatalities occur most commonly when the vehicle is making a left turn. Next slide. Crosswalk pedestrians are particularly vulnerable as they attempt to use crosswalks while buses make that left turn. And this suggests that there is an issue of visibility and awareness for bus operators. Next slide. FTA identified in its analysis 4 safety hazards associated with bus-to-person collisions, including vision impairment due to bus design and the environment outside of the bus, and entry into the bus pathway on the road by pedestrians, bikers, and micromobility users. Additionally, space limitations along the road from insufficient sidewalks or bus stops are also a safety hazard we identified. As Joe mentioned, FTA issued a Safety Advisory 23-1 as part of its plan to mitigate the dangers posed by this particular hazard. The Safety Advisory asks agencies to review the risks and hazards associated with bus-to-pedestrian collisions at their agencies, with special focus on the design of vehicles and operator policies. And finally, I want to note that bus manufacturers will play a large role in the design and system improvements for safety. We're looking specifically at size, location, and types of mirrors, reducing the width of the A-pillar, camera and motion sensors to detect people outside of the vehicle, as well as audio and visual turn warning systems. Ideally, the vehicle systems and design would be made with communications with operators regarding driving procedures to think about maximum effectiveness in vehicle design. With that, I believe I turn it over to Roy Chen from FTA's Office of Research, Demonstration, and Innovation to talk about FTA's research in vehicle safety.
Thank you, Ivy. Good afternoon and good morning for the folks joining us from the West Coast. So for this presentation, I will provide a brief overview of the safety research program at FTA. I will briefly go over the type of projects we have funded, our research focus areas, and high-level outcomes of the safety research program. Broadly speaking, we have 3 types of research projects. And historically, the majority of safety research falls under the pilot demonstration projects. This project focuses on developing prototypes, test near market-ready products, and adapt systems for other industries for transit use. The second type of project focuses more on the transit vehicle design. As Mary mentioned earlier, more recently, we have been investing resources in this area of our research. And the final category of our research involves standards or state of practice studies. We compile and analyze information on existing standards, nationally or internationally, and existing practices related to safety specific topics. Next slide, please. So for the pilot demonstration projects are usually conducted by teams that include transit agencies, technology vendors, universities, and other stakeholders. In the past 8 years or so, we have funded 34 safety research pilots. We have completed 20 of them, and we have published 15 technical reports, with more to come as additional projects are completed. Each technical report provides a technical overview of the system deployed, detailed performance and acceptance data, and documented lessons learned during the deployment. On the right side, you see areas where we have focused pilot demonstration projects in the past. For example, bus collision avoidance mitigation, which is a topic that we're discussing today for today's roundtable. Highway grade crossing safety, transit worker safety, and others that you can see on the slide. Next slide, please. On the vehicle safety research, we have concentrated in enhancing transit vehicle crashworthiness, mitigating secondary impact injuries, and optimizing bus compartment design. As I said earlier, we have a plan to increase our investment for this type of research on the vehicle safety research for both the visibility issue as well as detection of pedestrians. So currently, some of the issues that we are looking at are operator barriers to prevent bus driver assaults, as well as enhancing bus operator ergonomics and visibility to improve comfort and prevent collisions. Next slide, please. Under our standard research initiative, we have published 26 technical studies. These studies provide insight into the availability of standards, current practices, and potential gaps in specific safety topics. These studies are conducted in collaboration with the industry stakeholders and cover a range of topics, including transit vehicle crash energy management, battery electric buses and charging systems, medical fitness for duty and fatigue risk management, and more topics that you see on the list as well. I have included a link on the slide to access all those reports. Alternatively, you can search for Standard Development Program to find those reports. Next slide, please. So recently, we finalized 3 pilot demonstration projects that are highly relevant to this roundtable. The first one is New York MTA project. We funded development of prototype mirror to enhance bus driver visibility. Pierce Transit project, we allocated seed money on a project to develop a LiDAR system. And LA Metro project, where we tested a vision-based system designed to alert drivers about pedestrians and bicyclists. I have attached the links to those 2 reports as well. And the LA Metro one the technical report is not ready yet, but will be available soon. The next presenter will talk about additional details, technical details on each of those projects and share lessons learned from the 3 projects. So thank you, and that's my email. So if there's any questions, feel free to send me an email. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. So it looks like I'm up next. Next slide, please. Good afternoon/morning to those friends on the West Coast. My name is Lisa Stays. I'm the Associate Director of the Center for Urban Transportation Research, or CUTR, at the University of South Florida. I'm very happy to be with you today. We are fortunate to be able to support FTA as the independent evaluator on SRD projects. As Roy mentioned, we have 3 projects to discuss today that address collision avoidance and mitigation, 2 of which included technology deployments, and a 3rd that resulted in a prototype mirror design to reduce forward visual obstructions. First, we're going to talk about LA Metro. Next slide, please. Next slide. Thank you. So LA Metro's SRD project included the testing of a collision avoidance system to determine system accuracy and effectiveness of that technology in reducing collision events. The system, which included both visual and audible alerts to bus operators, was tested on 50 buses during revenue service over an 18-month period. The technology was tested in both stealth mode, so on 10 buses, it was in stealth mode, and then 40 buses in active mode. The technology was designed to record warning events that were triggered by incidents of imminent pedestrian collisions and/or forward vehicle-related collisions. One form of efficacy determination that was used by the research team was the driver's braking behavior. Hard or intense braking that either did or did not correspond with an alert was used to support findings of either false negatives or, conversely, false positives as example. Next slide. Some of the lessons learned in this particular project was that technology costs tend to increase as later generation products, whether that be hardware or software, become available. In this project, there were some quality control challenges in the prototype testing that did lead to delays and challenges in the testing phase with installation and technology integration. LA Metro did note that bus operator familiarization training is imperative for collision avoidance technology demonstration projects to be successful. Next slide, please. So New York MTA actually moved forward with this research project due to some issues they were having with left side and left forward turning movement collisions that they felt were due, at least in part, to visibility obstructions with either mirror type, size, and or placement. So with their research team, they developed and evaluated prototype street side mirror design for transit buses. This process began with 3D scan and modeling the front end of transit buses from 4 different vehicle manufacturers. Through that effort, they were able to perform some virtual simulations with system effectiveness metrics that were based on the 2.5 percentile female and 97.5 percentile male. They looked at mirror configurations that included their current mirror, which is flat convex combination mirror, semi-curved high mount, and then semi-curved low mount. Based on the results of that virtual simulation, they optimized a semi-curved prototype mirror. It was modeled, and then they went through both static testing and 6 months of field demonstration testing on 10 buses per depot at 3 separate New York City Transit depots. The field demonstration also included a survey of the bus operators who were able to drive the buses that had been configured with the prototype mirror. So overall, the results showed that bus operators rated the field of view provided by the optimized semi-curved mirror to be significantly better than the current flat mirror, with no difference in image quality or visibility obstruction. Next bullet, or next slide, please. Some of the lessons learned through this particular demonstration project was that traditional mirror assemblies, both flat and convex mirrors, do seem to create significant obstructions to direct field of view. Low mounted flat glass only mirrors resulted in the smallest obstructions due to the size and location of the mirror heads. A traditional high mount flat convex combination with a lower assembly created similar or worse obstructions for a range of tall bus operators. For 40-foot buses, the semi-curved mirror design provided the best combination of rear and forward visibility performance, with the largest range of visibility for bus operators and fewer side street incidents. What was interesting is that the use of the semi-curved style mirror on an articulated bus, a 60-foot articulated bus, was found to have the opposite effect, which was quite interesting. Next slide, please. The final SRD project I want to talk about was performed by Pierce Transit. Their project was a pedestrian and forward vehicle detection / collision avoidance warning system on transit buses. On 30 buses, they outfitted them with a 2D LiDAR-based system. It was front-mounted for detection. They installed a video processor in 3 of those 30 buses to help validate accuracy. They did perform some closed course testing at Virginia Tech's Virginia Smart Roads facility. That was used for validation and system calibration. It also included day, night, and weather condition testing. Revenue service testing was performed for approximately a 9-month period in shadow mode, meaning there were no alerts to operators and no active braking initiated. The data logger did capture telematic data via their onboard detectors, and those were transmitted events to external servers for evaluation and the identification of event hotspots. Next slide, please. Some of the lessons learned through the Pierce Transit demonstration was retrofitting hardware and software systems on legacy buses presented challenges, as one would imagine, associated with sensor placement. As an example, when retrofitting a bus with a front bike rack, that created some challenges. Sensor placement can certainly create interference and false positive alerts. There were some data collection challenges related to transmission consistency and concurrency, which did result in an inability to prove accuracy. And one of the most important points that they noted was executive level support at a transit system is crucial to ensure financial and manpower sustenance throughout the project lifecycle. And these project life cycles can be many years. So that was an important finding for the research team. And with that, that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate that and really appreciate all of the presenters and the information that they shared. I think there's some really valuable takeaways there we all can think about as we go forward with this discussion. So with that, in terms of kind of the rest of the comments and the discussion, I'm going to turn it over to Roderick Ramsey, who's a senior program analyst for us in TSO, and he's going to help to facilitate the conversation going forward.
Right. Thank you, Joe. We will now move into the facilitated discussion portion of this roundtable. And before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the transit community's turnout to this public event. Thank you for participating today and working together as we identify potential solutions to improve bus operator visibility and safety. Today's attendees include labor representatives, members from the bus manufacturing community, transit agencies, and transit industry stakeholders. During registration, we asked registrants if they would like to be recognized to speak. On the screen are questions speakers may consider addressing during your allotted time. The questions are, what challenge have you seen related to operator visibility? What determines design and placement of the components impacting visibility? What additional research or standardization would you like to see to address these challenges? What are some effective solutions to improve operator visibility? And what steps can we, FTA, the industry, and bus manufacturers take to drive improvements in operator visibility and reduce bus collisions? Please note that during this facilitated discussion, FTA will participate in a listening mode. FTA will follow up on any questions received at a later date. We ask that all speakers follow our participant guidelines. So please listen effectively, stay within your allotted time, be mindful of virtual surroundings and limit background distractions. Stay muted when you're not speaking. Please stay on topic, engage in dialogue, and ensure mutual respect. And keep in mind that today's discussion will focus on bus operator visibility and safety. Next slide, please. Now let's hear from our speakers. To keep things organized, I will call on recognized speakers by group in the following order. Labor unions first, bus manufacturers, transit agencies, and transit industry stakeholders. So to begin, we would like to hear from the ATU and Toronto Transit Commission. Please turn on your cameras and microphones.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And you may begin.
So we have a presentation, I believe, will be loaded up here. Yeah. So we want to start by just describing the approach that the TTC, along with the ATU and the local 113 unit, is taking to address the challenges primarily around operator safety, including sight lines, protection from assaults, and addressing the risk posed to vulnerable road users. Next slide, please. So it really started with a response to increase in operator assaults over the last number of years. And you see on the screen here, this is in fact from the FTA, 300% increase in assaults between 2008 and 2022. What we knew what was required to be successful at addressing this issue was to take a different approach than had been taken in the past between management and labor, and to truly work as partners to around to resolve these common goals to ensure operator safety. And out of this, and inspired by the Bus of the Future, the Bus Design Innovation Program was kind of born. Next slide, please. And so just in terms of the program overview, and I'll talk a little bit more about the governance in a moment, but this is a joint labor management partnership aligned around these common goals. We applied research towards the enhancement of safety and experience of operators, customers, and vulnerable road users, as I mentioned. We explore different design solutions rooted in empathy for human-centered design. And this is a very key point for us here. And of course, we develop prototypes, we adopt new technology, we go through a series of engineering trials to evaluate the effectiveness of these technologies and these solutions. But we always make sure that the people who are using, whose environment we're looking to alter, whose risks we're looking to change, are involved in the process. So in this case, we're talking about operator engagement. And throughout the entire process, which I'll talk about briefly in a moment, there are repeated attempts to engage operators and seek their feedback, tweak designs, go back to them with new solutions that address the concerns, and capture the best practices identified by operators, all with the view of identifying what we refer to as a golden prototype, which includes the feedback of all relevant stakeholders, and that then can be approved between management and labor as well, and then implemented either on a go-forward basis and working with bus OEMs, or as a retrofit solution to the existing fleet, or and. Next slide. So this is just an image of some of the innovation challenges that have been undertaken to identify novel ideas to these problems. So the bottom right-hand corner, I'll start there. This is us facilitating a youth challenge at Centennial College, which is a local skills trade college. The challenge put to them was, how do we increase operator safety and improve the experience of the customer? And the top left corner is student groups after a course of 2 days working on solutions, presenting back to us their ideas. In some cases, they had working prototypes of their solutions. This process has been incredibly valuable for harvesting ideas. If you go to the next slide, if you don't mind, harvesting ideas from a broad array of different stakeholders, but also gaining engagement. So when it came to the youth challenge that we had done with employees, it's an employee engagement value there as well. All these ideas then ultimately are, and I'll talk again a bit process, but the governance is such that the ideas are evaluated by subject matter experts and various stakeholders, in our case, throughout the TTC. The program management team itself, of course, is that facilitator, making sure that everything stays on time and budget, etc., but also that all the proper engagements happen. And the steering committee, which you can see Andrew Flatico, my partner on the line here, representing ATU International, and I oversee the steering committee for the overall program. Next slide, please. I won't get into detail here. There's a lot on the slide here, and I've talked about most of it. But the point is, communicate the common purpose engage innovators, as I mentioned, and we're talking about employees, customer, the public, private and non-for-profits, academia, industry leaders. I should mention as well, bus OEMs, of course. And we engage them in a number of different ways, innovation challenges, of course, recognizing emerging technology and solutions ourselves, and then solving problems through open innovation as well, or calls for innovation, I should say. Ultimately, all these ideas get put into what we refer to as the innovation pipeline, and there's an intake process. Ideas are screened, evaluated, and so on, prototyped and so on. And eventually, through the governance that I mentioned earlier, good ideas, proven ideas are implemented. Next slide. So next several slides, Andrew will go through some more of the meat of and the results of these efforts. And as you'll see, there's great alignment with the topic of today. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ben, and greetings to everybody's online today. Taking a look at this slide here from right to left, we're going to take a look at the current design features promoted by the Bus Design Innovation Program. And I just want to make a point here that this process is about assessment and evaluation with the stakeholders all coming together. Empathy rooted in the operator. We're looking at what the operator needs. We're looking at the health and safety committees making proper recommendations and putting the innovations forward and reevaluating to the point where we can get something that will mitigate potential exposure. So starting from right to left, one of the innovations we're looking at is the rear view and A-pillar cameras. This innovation enhances sightlines by providing a wider viewing angle. And also we're looking at to remove unobstructed views to reduce the risk of collision with vulnerable road users. In the middle of the slide here, another innovation that we're taking a look at is to improve the ergonomics through enhanced suspension. This is a semi-active seat, which reduces vibration and fatigue. Once again, taking consideration that the end user that we believe through this program is the operator, being able to be supported in their work environment successfully. And on the left-hand side of this slide, you'll see a full TTC prototype barriers. The workforce that put this barrier in was A2 member workers. And they took the opportunity to create fully enclosed operator barriers to protect from assault. And making a point here based on keeping on track with today's subject, these operator barriers do maintain clear sight lines to the curbside mirror. Next slide, please. So further highlighting these barriers starting from left to right, taking a closer look, as you'll see, fully enclosed barriers, a supplemental panel runs parallel to the dash. And once again, I want to make a point here of not impeding any type of sight lines. The operator's work seat, when it's fully retracted back, having someone sit in there that's of large structure, we have already tested to note that they can see the mirrors clearly. Now on the right-hand side, which is basically the same bus, but a different bus number, we have removed the fare box. If you'll notice that the fare box is outside of the workstation, there's been a lot of statistics based on fare invasion and assaults because of the fare box, but just also keep in mind, in support of the operator being successful in their work environment, removing the fare box helps them ergonomically, which makes them more cognitive to their work environment. Next slide, please. Okay, so when we take a look at the future of the pipeline for the Bus Design Innovation Program, we also are looking at other innovations, vertical airflow, a system for improved quality of health for passengers, operators. Given the fact that we've come through a pandemic, I think it's very important to look at the future on how to have a positive transit experience, not just for our patrons, but also to support our operators to make sure that they are healthy and safe. Also looking at other technologies for predictive safety and looking at real-time reporting of aggressive behavior or weapon detection. These are some of the innovations that have come up through our talks with the Bus Design Innovation Committee, and we're also looking at solutions to boost fare payment compliance. So staying in line with today's questions and answers based on sight lines, And when we take a look at what are the challenges that we've seen relative to operator visibility, well, the fact is the pillar that supports the windshield on the driver's side along with the side view mirror is well known amongst the operators to cause severe visibility problems. The recommendation for that would be to support the OEMs with a requirement, a standard, a guideline to support an engineering process that demonstrates the reduction of the A-pillar, as we've mentioned earlier in these sessions. And also, I would also recommend having a cockpit-style barrier placed behind the operator. And having to do those two recommendations, we now can potentially help with sight lines, eliminate glare, and minimize the potential exposure to assaults. And having said that, on behalf of the Toronto Transit Commission and the A2 International, we thank you for the opportunity to express our opinions and our concerns and look forward to working with you all. The next slide in this presentation demonstrates the Bus Design Innovation Program and where we are going with having to work with all our industry partners. And I'd ask for the video now to be seen. Thank you.
The Bus Design Innovation Program seeks improved service for riders and safety for operators. Through root cause analysis as well as determination of global best practice and North American innovation, the Bus Design Innovation Program is proposing solutions for transit agencies and bus manufacturers. This includes bus of the future design concepts and best practices to establish new global benchmarks in bus design and safety. Objectives include preventing assaults on operators through enhanced physical barriers to workstations, improving operator visibility through increasing sight lines, reduced glare, and removing obstructions. Eliminating injuries, especially musculoskeletal injuries, by optimizing drivers' workstation ergonomics. Reducing exposure to viral transmission through improved HVAC design. The project will deliver both incremental and transformative changes, with the goal of creating a safer and healthier experience for operators, passengers, and the global community. Bus Design Innovation Program partners are focused on practical, relevant, forward-looking solutions rooted in empathy for the operators, which empowers employees to take ownership of innovation. The Bus Design Innovation Program Committee will engage and support health and safety committees to provide input and recommendations while utilizing surveys with bus operators to measure, assess, and evaluate bus design features to be considered for potential implementation. Working together, united in safety. Our voice, our power, our future. The time is now.
All right, thank you for that. And that was a great discussion, great presentation. So we'd like to get back to the labor unions discussion. So please note that all remaining speakers will have 3 to 4 minutes to speak. And at the 3-minute mark, you will receive a 1-minute warning to finish your remarks. Each group, meaning labor, bus manufacturers, transit agencies, and transit industry stakeholders, will have a total of 18 minutes to provide remarks. Please focus your time on speaking about bus safety and designs impacting operator visibility, commenting on FTA's presentations, and/or addressing the stated discussion questions. And let's continue with the recognized labor unions. Could we go back one slide, please? And please be prepared to come on camera and unmute your mics when I call on you. Back to the slide that says labor unions. And so while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and get started and call the first speaker. May we have James Sandoval, Smart TD Union. If you could please come on camera and unmute your microphone. All right, James, are you there? All right, so we will move on to Margie Sullivan, a representative from ATU. Margie, are you available? There should be a representative from ATU.
Dan
All right,
Smith
I'll
from
back up.
ATU.
All right, you're representing
Dan, no,
ATU?
No, Dan Smith, I saw he's on the chat if he wants to try.
Yes, hi, I am with the ATU. Unfortunately, I don't have prepared remarks. Other than to say that we continue to be very excited about the program, working with the TTC and working with the FTA to develop real solutions to the identified problems. And we think that with FTA leadership and bus manufacturer and transit agency leadership, this is a real problem that we can address. We're very excited to hear from the other stakeholders today.
All right, thank you for that. I'm going to back up and ask, is there a representative from Smart TD Union on the line that would like to speak? Okay, next, from the Joint Labor Management Board, is there a representative that would like to speak on behalf of the Joint Labor Management Board? Are there any other labor representatives who wish to be recognized during the labor union section?
Yes, can you hear me? Not allowed.
Yes, I can hear you. Could you please join us on camera?
I'm trying to figure that out, sir. My system doesn't seem to want to work. Unfortunately, my name is Mario Madrid from Legislative Rep 1563 out in LA, working for MTA with the Smart Union. This program has hit a lot of subjects that we are very concerned about, especially the left side mirror. We have an Eldorado model that the left side mirror, as soon as you turn your head, is right in your vision. You cannot even see the street. If it's placed lower or higher, great. Especially we're great with the idea of the convex mirror instead of the flat mirror. The other concern is nobody mentioned, but I noticed on the video, somebody was playing with the sun visor. That is a major concern, especially with the Eldorado models again. When that sun is coming up the horizon, it doesn't go down far enough. So all buses should be manufactured to go down practically all the way. So that sun hits you, even with sunglasses, you are blind. I could not tell what color the traffic signals are, or if somebody's standing right in front of the bus sometimes. That is a very important tool. We need to see everything. That model you have with the camera inside and the left side mirror, excellent. I love that idea. Another thing, visibility outside at nighttime. With the lights being down low so everybody can see where they're stepping is great, but we cannot see people moving around outside. It would be great if the lights were placed higher, much like an ambulance, so you could see the whole spectrum of your right side and see visibility of everybody moving around. I feel would be a lot safer at nighttime. There are a lot of other comments, but I have 4 minutes, right? So I still have a captive audience. The fare box moving away from the driver's seat is excellent. We have a lot of problems obviously with assaults all over the nation. And we have another issue with, oh God, I lost my notes. Oh, the vents on the AC, air conditioning. It's very important to keep our drivers cool, especially with this hot weather we had in LA recently, 109, 110 out here. A lot of AC's vents are placed in the wrong place, especially with the new electrical buses. They're all placed on the left side, so all that cool air is hitting your left ear. That is not safe. You're going to end up with an ear infection. The vents should be placed in front, at least 4 vents to circulate the air for the driver so he can stay fully alert and not be ready to pass out with all this heat. I support everything that everybody's doing. Need to work together, but I think you need to bring more in frontline workers to suggest things that can make bus safer. And I appreciate my time, and thank you.
All right, thank you. And last call, any other labor representatives that wish to be recognized?
Hey, this is Zach Tatz with the Transport Workers Union.
All right.
Just briefly, thank you very much for holding this roundtable. I believe you also have representatives from Carnegie Mellon University in the queue to speak. I will second in advance everything they are going to say on this topic in regards to my membership. I will also note TWU moves about 50% of the nation's public transportation riders. Our operators and mechanics move and maintain almost 1/3 of all the transit vehicles in the country. And across the board, we have commitments from our management to purchase updated compartments for buses, updated safety systems for the entire fleet as soon as they are available. So their market for these upgrades, these innovations already exists. It's simply waiting to be filled. The largest bottleneck that we've experienced is just on the manufacturing side, getting partners willing to supply, even on large contracts like New York City, the full scope of what our agencies need in this space. So looking forward to more of the discussion, and thank you again for holding this roundtable.
Right, thank you, Zach. Any other labor representatives who wish to speak? All right, next up, let's talk to the bus manufacturers. And I will call you by agency. Please be prepared to come on camera and unmute your microphones when I call on your agency. Up first is Gillig.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Brunette. I'm Vice President of Product Planning and Strategy for Gillig. Put a couple slides together around some of the options we have available as a conversation starter. Go to the next slide. Just brief overview of the safety advisor. I think the FTA did a very nice job summarizing this, so we can move past this slide. As we think about the front end design of the bus, the A-pillar is a common topic that's raised. This pillar provides structural support for the front of the bus, including the windshield opening, and it's therefore something that our engineering folks and those of our competitors all focus on minimizing while ensuring that pillar is able to provide the structural support necessary. In the US, we have a requirement to use zip-in windshield designs rather than bonded-in windshields like used in automotive applications. This leads to a minimum gasket width and therefore a minimum width of that A-pillar. A future consideration that the industry could make is an alignment to allow a bonded-in windshield, which could allow some additional design flexibility for our engineering folks to further minimize that A-pillar. Go to the next slide, please. Mirrors are a common discussion point. These are very specifically specified by our customers and met by OEMs. The size, configuration, location, arm type, and mirror type are all specified by the transit agency, often in collaboration with their operators unions. There's no consensus for what mirror is best from a visibility perspective, and so as an OEM, we provide whatever option we have. In fact, we often release more mirror configurations each year than we have unique bus orders. Next slide, please. As we look at some of the optional features, next slide, please. The driver protection barrier, more common option in the recent years. There are many different configurations provided by multiple suppliers, and much like some of the labor members have discussed, it impacts airflow. But one of the things that we're very focused on is the visibility. Some of the marketed aftermarket options impede visibility of the mirror, looking through glass in the barrier as well as the window to look at the mirror. And so this is an area of focus to ensure these don't inadvertently reduce visibility. Next slide, please. Video mirrors is something we're offering. These mirrors provide increased visibility in nighttime applications. You can get a brighter image than in the mirror can. But NHTSA regulations require traditional mirrors continue to be installed by OEMs. So we do not yet have a pathway to install these in place of a mirror. These can only be installed in addition to a traditional mirror. Next slide, please.
And you have 1 minute remaining.
Okay, I'll go quickly here. See-through pillars, these are great, but they also are mounted to that A-pillar further, potentially creating an obstruction. Next slide, please. Collision alert systems, these are offered. There are a variety of these, but possibility of false alerts has been something that's been reported to us, and inclement weather can impair these systems. Next slide, please. Pedestrian turn alerts. So these are systems that when the bus turns, it creates an audible alert to the pedestrians. Doesn't work for every pedestrian vulnerable road user, excuse me, and can be challenging in residential areas. Next slide, please. And a future feature we're looking at is automatic emergency braking. As an industry, we need to discuss how we handle standees. And further, radar systems are blocked by front bike racks, so that interference is a challenge to provide this.
Right. Thank you so much for your time, Benjamin. Next up, we have New Flyer of America, still with the bus manufacturers. New Flyer of America.
Hey, I'm here. Good day.
Welcome.
Do a presentation, I'll share. Not sharing that. Sorry. Good day. I'm Nick Steiner, here with New Flyer MCI. I'll be talking about design considerations that go into bus operator visibility. When an operator looks out from the driver's seat, the largest obstruction they see is the A-pillar. A-pillar is part of the structure of the bus and is crucial for supporting design loads. With increase of weight loads and load pass from electric vehicles, anything coming from the roof load is critical. So changing and shrinking the A-pillar to require significant testing, which it's not something that can be done lightly. As per the SAE standards, Excelsior has a vertical range of vision, horizontal range of vision, windshield wipe area, center line, and A-pillar obstruction angles that all exceed the standards requirements by several degrees. When designing the Excelsior, we designed it to exceed these requirements and try to take driver visibility as important. Even with that, we understand blind spots are a concern and we look to new emerging technologies to improve driver and visibility safety. When it comes to exterior mirrors, we currently have 174 right-hand exterior mirror installations and 204 left-hand exterior mirror installations. Those are more than any production runs that we build in a single year. That has a lot of different mirrors. These combinations are endless. All these different mirrors are due to different agency specifications and requests. Configurations are attributed to these variations are due to placement of the mirror, vendor, size, style, color, material, and other features such as heating, turn signals, turn signaling, power adjustments, and so on. For each of these designs, we have to ensure the exterior mirrors meet FMVSS 111 compliance. The placements and overall size is really dedicated by the agency. And so our design consideration for the operator visibility is limited by those requirements. It's a challenge to maintain all these design variations, and it's required additional engineering effort, purchasing effort, material coordinated, and also the installers ensuring that the correct mirror goes on the correct vehicle. Switching our focus to inside the cabin, we focus to increase protection for the drivers. We have developed a fully enclosed safety barrier. This provides protective glass all the way to the windshield. As with other driver barrier protection doors that are available, driver visibility is a key consideration in developing it. We ensure that the driver's protection system has protected glass throughout the sightlines of the operator as not to obstruct their views. Transparent AS2 tempered laminate glass with anti-glare coating is installed to help reduce any glare effect. Driver safety.
Nick, you have 1 minute remaining.
Also, unobstructed vision are a major consideration in any driver safety's design. And then finally looking at some technology-based solutions to help with driver visibility. At New Flyer, we continuously try to stay at the leading edge of providing safety features for the heavy-duty market. These are several emergent technologies that we are working on vendors to improve driver visibility and safety. Two technologies that we do offer are camera monitor systems and level 2 automated driver assist. We currently offer the CMS or camera monitor system. Vendors that we have worked with have obtained the FMVCSA exemption, but to have the CMS, as mentioned from Gillig, for FMVCS 11 requirements, we still have to install the physical mirrors. but along with the CMS mirrors. And then the agency is then requirement of getting the exemptions and be able to remove then the physical mirrors.
All right, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciated this. Moving to our next bus manufacturer, Nova Bus, Volvo Group.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, first, thank you to FTA for organizing this roundtable. We appreciate this opportunity to discuss these topics. My name is Pierre Lequime. I'm Director for Product Safety and Certification from Novabus. Novabus is a leading transit bus manufacturer that provides sustainable solutions in North America. Safety is and always has been a priority for Novabus. It's part of our DNA. So if we talk driver visibility, we believe it's a critical element of passenger and pedestrian safety. This is why in 2018, we've done an important project to improve visibility by removing the B pillar and reducing the size of the A pillar on the driver's side of the bus to improve our visibility. And with new technologies improving every day, there are opportunities to improve visibility even more. But there are also challenges. At Novabus, we believe one of the main challenge, and I think my colleague from other OEMs are stating the same thing. Main challenge is the amount of customization requested by our customers. For every new system we must integrate, it requires that we go through an extensive development and optimization to provide the best possible solution. We need to balance the client's request with our manufacturer's safety responsibility. For example, since 2020 and the COVID outbreak, there has been an important increase of demand for driver barriers. At Novabus, we currently offer 4 different models of barriers, 2 from our own designs and 2 from third-party suppliers. These are declined into 28 different variants tailored to a specific driver environment. The barrier needs to be adapted to the specific client's fare box, its choice of glazing material, position of interior mirrors, and much more. In each of these adaptations, there can be impact on driver visibility. The main concern for drivers with these barriers are glare and reflection, especially when driving at night. The operator is now surrounded by 3 glass panels, the windshield, the driver barrier, and the side window, which can reflect lights from incoming cars or from within the bus. Our product development team works hard to limit the possibilities of glare and reflection on each of their design. But if there were fewer solutions to develop, they could spend more time optimizing those designs. Standardization of the operator's environment is the key to optimizing visibility. A way to help standardizing and optimizing buses would be to change how bus specifications are written during the bid process. Instead of specifying parts to use, transit authorities could define performance standards to achieve. This way, it would allow bus manufacturers to come up with innovative solutions tailored to the client needs while being optimized for the operator's visibility of our own vehicle. By spending less time and effort on integration and integrating multiple very similar systems, manufacturer could spend more time optimizing a standard solution that would be more performant while meeting the client needs.
Pierre, you have 1 minute remaining.
Okay. I recognize this could be a challenge for transit authority as common parts between different bus manufacturers make it easier for maintenance and spare parts inventory. But if you want to take the next step in terms of drivers' visibility, it will require a common effort from the entire industry. That's why I think forums like these are very important. If we want all to drive improvements in operators' visibility and reduce bus collisions, we, the bus manufacturers, the FTA, transit authorities, and other industry partners must work together and collaborate to create an alignment between policies, clients' requests, and bus design. Only then will we be able to find innovative solutions and new technology to improve not only drivers' visibility, but also passengers and pedestrian safety. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Pierre. Up next, Volvo Group Canada. Volvo Group Canada, are you on the line? Okay, moving forward, do we have Vicinity Motor Corporation? Vicinity Motor Corporation, are you on the line? Okay, I will extend the invitation. Are there any other bus manufacturer representatives who wish to be recognized? All right, so next, let's move on to our transit agency representatives. I will call on you by agency. Please be prepared to come on camera and unmute your microphones when I call on your agency. Up first, Indigo. Indigo representative, are you on the line?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Sorry, I don't know if my mic is on or if the audio. But one of the only things, and it's not about being recognized, but one of the concerns that we really had was with the putting our shoes in the operator standpoint every day, the operator visibility and the feedback that we get really concerning, especially when the OEMs talked about at night with visibility, with glare and anti-reflective coatings. We know there's standards out there, but they just still don't meet the needs for some of the coach operators out there as they're performing those services at night. They're trying to look through the windows. So I just wanted to put that out there for the OEMs as well as the group that was out there that there is still concern, and we are struggling to find a solution. We went through two different renditions of operator assault barriers, as well as the types of plexiglass or the laminate that's used with coatings. And we're still struggling with that. So we really need some help in anything that could be progressed through the technology and with the OEMs would be very helpful. With the FTA and maybe with folks like APTA's help, be much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Up next, Kansas City Area Transportation Authority. Is anyone on the line from that agency? Kansas City Area Transportation Authority. How about Cap Metro? Is Cap Metro on the line? Is a representative from Cap Metro available to speak?
Yeah, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Gardner Tabon. I represent Capital Metro as Executive Vice President and Chief Safety Officer. Many of my questions, thankfully, with the presentations that have been provided, have been answered. So thank you for the opportunity.
Los Angeles County MTA.
This is Ray
Los
Lopez.
Angeles County. Yes.
This is Ray Lopez from LA Metro. I'm not sure who had requested to speak, but I had not. But I have a couple of comments to make. First of all, Lisa States had done a presentation on our test that we did with multiple devices, and briefly we found that the technology was not quite there yet, and unfortunately we did our test during a time of COVID, which created a supply issue, and so we are still waiting for that report and to finalize it, which will be shared and distributed to the industry. Secondly, there was a comment made about the customization by agencies. That, from my experience with being in multiple agencies, that is true. But I've also seen that supplier issues cause some problems with directly with the mirrors. We had an issue here at LA Metro that we had resolved blind spot with the mirrors on the left side for operators, and one of our bus manufacturers ran into a supply issue with a window, and the location of the mirror was moved, and without our knowledge on the new vehicles. And so we're actually going through a process now to retrofit mirrors that were installed due to a supply issue. So it's customization is definitely a factor, and we do need some standardization, but supply issues are involved too. So thank you for having this format of discussion, a lot of information. But we have heard a lot of this. We definitely need to come up with some new ideas and definitely address the A pillar with the new technology and or reduction of the A pillar, because that is a true factor. One last comment. When I used to be an operator driving the old RTS TMC buses, we didn't have this issue as much as we do now. There was a higher view. The mirrors were small. They were not as large as they are now. And they were at a lower location on the most part. Now, with the operator being seated at lower location, the mirrors being much larger and in their field of view, that is that in my experience, that is a major factor. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you for that, Raymond. Are there any other transit agency representatives who wish to speak?
Yeah, my name is Jacob James from Dallas Area Rapid Transit. Just want to say about those driver barrier. Is it possible we can make it an automated driver barrier? Like when the passenger front door is open, then the door will be closed for the operators, and the passenger door is closed. Then it's kind of opening for them. That way we can avoid a lot of glare issues and claustrophobic conditions for the operators. So just a suggestion. So, all right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you, Jacob. Are there any other transit agency representatives who wish to speak? Okay, so let's hear from our last group, transit industry stakeholders. Please be sure to come on camera and unmute your microphones when I call on you. Up first, ZF.
Hey guys, you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Cool. I have some slides. I don't know if they're going to be presented, but most of what I'm going to say has already been said. My goal is just to show you a quick overview and then outline kind of 3 problems of where we're at. So I'm Kevin from ZF. My email is in my name if you want to reach out. ZF's the largest commercial vehicle supplier in the world. Buses are categorized as a commercial vehicle. It means we supply parts like brakes, steerings, motors, but to the local bus company near you. So why is that important? Well, if you want to do something with collision mitigation, you probably want to automatically press brakes or steer the bus. And that usually revolves around talking with some of our parts. So this started because the Transit Authority met with us and said that it's great. We're out of Germany. We have autonomous shuttles that drive in airports. But the MTA said, well, they want something on their bus now. They've already tried a visual alert system and it's annoying for the drivers. So the drivers actually turn the system off. And that's kind of what led into this collision mitigation lineup slides that I'm going to show you. So again, the point of the slides is just that the tech exists. I agree with Ben from Gillig and Nick from New Flyer, and that there's going to be many companies that provide a similar solution, which is already shown, like LiDAR. This is just a radar camera solution, but again, many solutions exist, and I think that's a great thing. So let's just go through the slides really quick. So next slide. There's a front-facing. If you want to cover, you want to do 360 coverage, it's kind of broken down into front-facing with some sort of radar or ranged product. And then there's kind of short range with cameras and radar. So if you go to the next slide. And then the next slide, yeah. And then this is like kind of the side for radar. It's just short range radar. The front is actually long range radar. This is fine. This shows kind of the 360 coverage. And then lastly, there'll be a, again, there's short range and long range. And the LiDAR that was previously shown as a long range solution. And then the next slide. This is kind of the whole system. And again, every company that provides a sensor is just going to end up having to hook up to this steering system or the braking system. That's why I wanted you guys to see this solution. It's a little more involved than you just need to buy one part. The integration is actually quite challenging. So why is the integration challenging? Well, force is mass times acceleration. Buses weigh like 10 times the weight of a car. So the heavier it is, the more impact it's going to have. So controlling that actually is very challenging. Next slide. These are just a list of features that transit authorities desire. And I just wanted you guys to have the slide if you wanted to screenshot it, or it'll probably be in the PDFs. Next slide.
And you have 1 minute remaining.
Thank you. And then reverse camera, next slide. And then just the camera's just a standard camera, wide angle. Next slide. So the main problem is this bike rack. And as you probably, if you didn't notice, even with the LiDAR solution, I think the bike rack was up. Once the bike rack is down, there's problems. You can work with different bike rack companies to get around that. And then the other thing, so that's one problem. The second problem is if you want the bus to stop, there's just going to be a lot of false alarms because there's a lot of pedestrians nearby. So for your car, the pedestrians are usually like walking on the crosswalk in designated areas, but around a bus, pedestrians are pretty much everywhere, and that causes a lot of false alarms. So it may take even longer to get the bus from point A to point B because of all these false alarms that could come up. And then the last point is just insurance. You guys have to figure out if the system causes collisions, like who's going to pay for that? And I don't know the answers to some of these questions, but I just think since we're kind of posing concerns, it's something that might need to be taken into account. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Up next, Illuminator.
Hey all, I'm actually not Jason Pavlichuk, but I used his link because I wasn't sent a link. My name is Daria Van Engelen. I'm with Illuminator. I will bring up my slides. Oh, there we go. Great. First off, thank you for hosting this important session. I was really excited to hear many folks on this call talk about video mirror as an option. We have been providing video-based mirror systems in Europe for many years now, actually just referenced by Acting Administrator Vanterpool in a recent social media post from her time in London. Think it's an incredible importance asset to bring up when we talk about safety here, and clearly video-based mirrors improve safety, reduce operational costs, save fuel and electric battery life. A study done by TPG in Switzerland actually found that video-based mirror systems saw a 115% increase in interval distance between accidents, including minor collisions such as side mirror clipping trees or street signs, and a 38% reduction in operational costs. We have been fortunate. We are in the US today. The FMCSA recently approved the use of Illuminator's video-based mirror system, and we have more than 30 pilots throughout the US today. Recently, California and New York took action that would allow the permanent use of video-based mirror systems, including the removal of side mirrors, and several agencies in those states are now moving to full deployment, while other states are taking similar regulatory action. We would love to see this state-by-state certification move as quickly as possible so we can take advantage of it throughout the country. So we provided some basic information to the FTA on video-based mirror solutions, and we continue to look to connect with you to talk to you more about what we are learning. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Up next, Carnegie Mellon University.
Hello, this is Sarah Fox. So I'll go ahead and start speaking. Thank you for the opportunity to share some of our work today. I'm Sarah Fox. I'm an assistant professor in the School of Computer Science at Carnegie Mellon University, and I'm also an affiliate faculty member with the Safety 21 University Transportation Center at CMU. And with a team of researchers with expertise in mechanical engineering, design, and social science, we're examining the future of transit operations and in an era increasingly influenced by automation technologies. So we're doing this work in collaboration with the AFL-CIO Technology Institute, the Transport Workers Union, and the Amalgamated Transit Union. And our research aims to co-design future transit technologies by directly engaging with people on the front lines, namely bus operators and their passengers. And some of the issues of bus safety that we've been exploring are related to the topic of operator visibility. And this work has thus far yielded design ideas centered around enhancing accessibility to those with mobility impairments via two-way communication. Other ideas focus on creating new interfaces to convey vehicle intent to pedestrians and other vulnerable road users around the bus. But what we feel a sense of urgency to share with you today is regarding a wider range of health and safety concerns that have arisen over the course of our research. So in an in-depth study on work experiences of bus operators across the United States, we found a number of severe health and safety issues, which are not adequately being reported, investigated, or mitigated. So through the study, we collected over 2,000 daily diary or journal entries about bus operators' work days and conducted over 100 hours of interviews, which had just concluded this spring. And the emphasis on health and safety concerns was overwhelming from operators. So about half of the drivers we interviewed self-reported experiences of assault, despite this not being something that was asked about directly. Again, we're kind of focused on technology design and ideas of human and machine teaming. And moreover, drivers reported again and again what they described as inhumane schedules that left them without practical access to short breaks that most of us take for granted to, say, go to the restroom or just have a bit of reprieve. On the front end of the workday, most or many of the operators we spoke to also felt pressure to complete rushed inspections of their vehicles due to not being allotted enough time for pre-trip inspections. So through our findings, we identify a set of best practices for health and safety reporting systems. So effective reporting mechanisms need to be transparent, ensuring frontline workers have visibility on the reporting process, responsive, having clear expectations on when an operator should expect a follow-up, accessible, ensuring multiple channels of communication for frontline workers to report safety incidents, including ones that involve management proactively seeking out operator perspectives and experiences, and fair, ensuring transit operators are paid for their time and not met with disciplinary action or scapegoated for an incident.
And you have 1 minute remaining.
And to this last point, having confidential option is critical. So in the context of on the road near misses, there are examples of this approach that can be applied from other agencies. So ideally, this would mean daily reporting becomes a required part of their job function, such that reporting is paid and at the same rate as driving. So for agencies to make progress on improving transit worker safety, there needs to be meaningful accountability. We echo recommendations for a formal mechanism for transit workers and their representatives to report on non-compliance. We also suggest that safety committees should be able to conduct independent investigations, submit formal data requests to management, and be a part of FTA inquiries. So enforcement with labor partners and technical guidance that ensures rigorous standards will help make regulations effective at improving safety. So in addition to bus redesign and ADAS development, these measures could go a long way toward enhancing dignity for our essential frontline transit workforce. And we have a report offering more details on these recommendations and a wider set of findings that we're prepared to share should you like to learn more. And thank you again for the opportunity to speak. We deeply appreciate the work that FTA is doing to address these critical safety issues.
Thank you, Sarah. Up next, Virginia Tech Transportation Institute.
Hello, my name is Andrew Kroom.
Hello, Andrew.
Can you hear me? Okay. Just gonna make sure I'm up. Hello, pleasure to meet with all of you today. I really appreciate all the work that's going on here. Virginia Tech Transportation Institute. We've been working on research to support safety and enhance the opportunity to increase bus operator health and safety. I just wanted to share a couple of research opportunities that have been completed. Thank you to Lisa for mentioning these two projects with FTA. First is Report 219 and then Report 220. Additionally, we have report from TCRP that's been published in 2016, TCRP Report 185 on bus operator workstation design for improving occupational health and safety, as well as bus operator barrier design through TCRP Transit Cooperative Research Program that was recently published. This is Report 249. We look forward to supporting future research in this area with the FTA, Transit Cooperative Research Program, and the other stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other transit agency stakeholders who wish to speak? Yes, Brian, I see your hand is up.
Sorry, Brian Henry from APTA. I just, in APTA programs, there's never a bad day to talk about bus safety. And what's happening this week is officially yesterday, the call for abstracts for the Safety and Risk Seminar, which will be in Atlanta from the 8th to 11th of December. It officially closed yesterday. However, we've had a number of members ask for extensions. So although it is officially closed yesterday, the portal will be open until Friday. Sorry, my screen blinked out. Did everybody hear that?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, excellent. So that the submittal portal for abstracts will be open until Friday, and we would encourage anybody to put in any interest they have on hosting or being on a panel, particularly about bus safety. And additionally, on the topic of bus safety, the mobility conference will be coming up April 4th to 8th, and that will be hosted by Cap Metro in Austin. And the abstract portal for that, the announcement will come out probably sometime very early in the new year, and that will be open. An additional opportunity where we always take an opportunity to promote safety programs from the industry and from FTA is App to Connect. If anyone on the call does not currently have an App to Connect App to Connect account, it's free to any APTA member agency. You just use your agency email to sign up for a free App to Connect account. And for this group on this topic, probably the best things would be the Safety Coordinating Council or the Bus Safety Committee. You just go to to join a committee, scroll down to those two opportunities or any other topics you find of interest and sign up for those committees. And then finally, every month where there's not a conference, Brian Alberts, who I'm representing today because he's out of town, hosts a transit safety spotlight webinar, and it's essentially a meeting of all of the APTA safety committees and working groups where they get together, and you can either give a presentation or listen to the presentations of others exclusively on the topic of safety. If you are currently not on that invite, please reach out to me and I will make sure you're forwarded that. If you are already on that and you know of a peer in the safety industry, whether they're an APTA member or not, feel free to forward that invite to them. We are casting a wide net to promote safety programs in transit. And if you don't have that, my email is bheanue@apta.com. bheanue@apta.com. And I would be glad to invite you to that meeting or talk on any topic on safety and security. And that's all I have.
Right. Thank you, Brian. And at this time, we'd invite any stakeholders or speakers from any group who would like to speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak from any group that we call? Yes, James, I see your hand is up.
Hi, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I missed it earlier. Just wanted to speak, and I know it's going to be kind of repeating some of the things that were brought up, but the digital mirrors inside or the monitors inside the vehicle could work in tandem with us, making it a goal to put barriers on all the buses, because when we put the barriers, I know it presents a problem by adding a glare, but by having the monitors, we solve two issues instead of solving one and presenting another. So it's really exciting to hear that that's a route some transit agencies might be going. And same thing with the mirrors that we currently have outside right now. My transit agency did go from where the mirrors are on the lower end to up above. And the explanation that we got was, it helps prevent mirror slaps and also some obstruction for when pedestrians are crossing a crosswalk and stuff. But it presented an issue where if you don't have the monitors inside the buses, when we bring down the blinds in the driver area to, block the sun, it blocks the mirror. And so we had to come up with creative solutions where we had to put like half blinder, half mesh to somewhat still be able to see through it, or have an arm long enough to lower the mirror so where it doesn't get obstructed when we have to, bring down that visor. So I just wanted to raise that issue. And then also, I've been working with a guy named Tony Ritchie. He's developing prototypes for ballistic barriers for inside buses, and they're currently going to be piloting them at SEPTA in Philadelphia. And we're really excited about it because he's, shown me some videos of how ballistic it is, and they, with all the testing and stuff, and it does give full enclosures. And why I'm really excited about that is because the current barriers that we have on most buses were created during COVID, and they were supposed to protect us from airborne diseases, not so much physical barriers. And there's a lot of videos surfacing on social media where all people have to do is grab that barrier and pull a little bit back and forth, and they break. So if we really want to protect drivers completely, ballistic barriers, although they may seem more expensive, but you can't really put a price on someone's life. And with the idea that monitors are, going to help with the glare, we could possibly have the ballistic barriers work in tandem with the digital monitors inside the bus compartment. And now we don't, now the drivers are fully protected. So I'm hoping that's a route that we really go. And just one other thing too, I don't think it's going to be an issue anymore, but it was with the Proterra design, because I know they're declaring bankruptcy. But some of the buses that they had on their design that we experienced, the passenger mirror was so small, it's like the same size of your personal vehicle, where you can't really see everybody inside your bus. And what I've been pushing really hard is that, although we have some bigger passenger mirrors, the flat mirrors that are inside the buses are a little harder for operators to fully inspect their buses, because you got to move it around to fully, to see your entire bus. But if we start focusing on convex mirrors, the warped mirrors, then we don't have to move them all the way around to fully see, see all the way to the back and see the priority seating right next to us. So I'm hoping that we keep a focus on all those issues, because if we could get the convex mirrors on all the buses, if we could get the monitors and the ballistic barriers, we're talking about a really safe place for bus operators to work. So I just wanted to speak on those few issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Are there any other stakeholders who would like to speak? Going once, going twice.
I'd comment on one last part, if I could. Thanks. So, sorry. One thing I just noticed from talking with everyone inside my company is whenever three things kind of converge, that's when action really happens. And the three are technology. The one that's the first. The second is the customer, and then the last is like the most important, I think, is this regulation. Usually that's from like NHTSA, but then I'm sure this group helps facilitate what goes into that. So I just kind of wanted to comment there. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments or speakers?
Hello?
Yes, Miguel, we can hear you.
Yes, Miguel Garcia, Norwalk Transit Systems here in California. First of all, thank everybody for all the information and your time. And this is more of a question, since driver barrier is a very much important part of our transit buses. Has there or is there any talk about driver cabins instead of barriers, like we have on our aircraft or our rail system?
And is that question directed to anyone specific?
To bus manufacturers or just anyone out there? Has there been any talk about a driver cabin instead of just looking for barriers? It seems like it's just occurred to me if that's even a possibility. Thank you.
Yes, Andrew, would you like to respond?
I would like to respond. So there's been many discussions about moving into the next generation, what barriers look like. And we do believe, based on a lot of discussions, cockpit style barriers is the barrier of the future, and something that we need to advance to. Think about it for what it is. If you have a cockpit style barrier that's directly behind the operator, you've reduced glare or minimized it or have eliminated Plus, there was discussion earlier on today about potential claustrophobia. Now you've opened up the workstation compartment. It helps the operator and support them in a better workstation. I do believe the cockpit style barrier is where we need to go to minimize any potential exposure to assaults, as well as help them with sight lines. Thank you.
Right, thank you for that. And Andrew Crum, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, thank you. Looks like can't share the screen here. I was just going to point out again, as I didn't share earlier, that TCRP report 249 is just recently becoming public. Does look at a great project that was led by the FTA on a bus operator workstation of the future, or bus operator workstation of the future, or future bus. And that one of the three configurations that Unitet looked at with TCRP was a cockpit style, and there were two other configurations that were considered. This report from TCRP has a lot of different elements and guidelines where you could consider which type of design you might want to use, and then how to arrange the configuration of the bus according to your requirements. So just wanted to reiterate, there's some information there on cockpits in TCRP report 249. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your input. Pablo.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, Pablo Murillo out of LACMTA. Recently, they implemented electric buses, 60-foot buses at Orange Line. And this is basically a question to the manufacturers. They're bringing in new BYD buses. And I noticed that they put the extra batteries right in the middle of the bus, and just simply where I have no visibility of the rear part of my bus. To the manufacturers, please keep in mind when that happens, I do not know what's going on back there. I drove one the other day. I heard someone screaming. Turned out she was singing, but I had no idea what was going on. I don't know if maybe they could look at that, redesign maybe. I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there for the manufacturers to keep that in mind, that nowadays with all these assaults going on, it's not just the operators. Trust me, I've been assaulted more than once, but I think it was 3 months ago, we had an actual killing. We had stabbings in the back of buses. So if the manufacturers could keep that in mind as to how they place all their technology, I would really appreciate it. Again, they put the batteries right where the whole rear of my bus I cannot see. Just a comment. Thank you very much for having me here. I appreciate it, and thank you for all the hard work all of you are doing.
We appreciate your input. Thank you. Are there any other stakeholders who would like to speak during this time?
Hi, this is Kathleen Sakaleros from SFMTA. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. I'm having some Zoom trouble, so I'm not turning on my video, but appreciate the opportunity, appreciate the roundtable. I had a conflict and had to present at another meeting, so I'm just joining now. I apologize if this is repetitive, but an issue that came up in our agency is the digital mirrors, a pilot that we want to do, and how we get an exemption to test those out. And again, if this is something you've all already discussed, apologize for bringing it up again, but we've done some research. It seems that there's exemptions through FMCSA that we would potentially have to apply for, but just hoping with the advances in technology that there might be an easier way to get an exemption. We are in California, we're in San Francisco, so there may be something on the state level we have to do, but we were curious if other agencies are facing this as well. And I do have a couple of subject matter experts on the phone, Bhavin and Ivan. I don't know if there's any additional details they can provide, but that's really the basic question of how do we pursue the digital mirrors with as a pilot project.
And is that question directed to any particular group?
It's not, and again, I had to step away from the meeting. Would be more if anyone else has, if they've applied for an exemption, if they have any insights on the process, and I can certainly follow up with anyone offline if that's easier.
Andrew Crum, I see your hand is raised.
Hello again. Yes, I'm not aware of the exemption process available through FTA. I do have worked with those elements with regard to other vehicle types, non-transit. I'll share one experience we had in New York City, the product that was mentioned earlier, report with New York City Transit. In that case, we did a demonstration, as Lisa Stace mentioned, for 6 months. And that mirror, we did have a mirror that was not FMVSS compliant at that time. There can be avenues for applying relative to the transit agency's insurance in their application in their municipality. So that's worth considering. In that case, you might need to look at whether federal dollars are applied to the purchases. So that was an experience we had that allowed us to do some demonstration pilots and get driver and union and manager feedback. It would be nice to have other avenues to be able to investigate opportunities to improve.
All right, thank you. Are there any other stakeholders who would like to speak?
Hi, this is Daria again from Luminator. Actually, California is one of the 2 states that have actually state certified. I'll be happy to connect you to how we helped influence that. And actually, the OCTA, Orange County, is the first agency in the US that is actually taking off their side mirrors and just using the digital video mirror technology. They did it just last week. So happy to connect with you and walk you through. We worked through the DMV in California.
That sounds great. Thank you very much. And so it sounds like potentially they did a pilot project and now they have the ability to do it. That's fantastic news. Great. Please let me know how we can get in touch. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, and with that, we'd like to thank everyone for participating in today's virtual public roundtable, and this concludes our section. Once again, we appreciate your input and for providing this vital information. FTA hopes to continue this discussion with various stakeholders, especially as we consider potential regulatory options. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day.